and welcome back to Encounter Roleplay. We are here with Warhammer Wednesday, the great tradition of 2 seasons, and we will soon be returning to Middenheim. Will, as you may know, has just run off into the ether, but he is not the only member of our party temporarily missing. But luckily the others are all in character, so that's not too big a deal. Why don't we start today by hopping over to the wonderful Jim Davis, who will be our Dungeon Master here for Chaosium's Cubicle 7. Chaosium was called a Cthulhu. Cubicle 7's 4E Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay.
Hey Charlie, how's it going? Doing good and ready to see what happens now that one of the party is a demigod and the city is quickly falling to chaos and calamity. So yeah, we're doing great, and good to be back. Good to be back home from PAX. Although it was excellent seeing you there, Charlie, and hang out with everybody else. So yeah,
it was a wonderful weekend. And thank you so much to Velveteen and to Cleric of Claude for your 2 subscriptions. I think that's 2 out of that'll be another 2, which means we need 1 more to get a viewer decision on subscribers today. And don't forget to also hit up that retweet for another chance for a viewer decision. I hope that Will has updated that. If not, go to Twitter, go to the Encounter Roleplay Twitter and look for the Going Live tweet. Okay, before we get into the action and get into the recap, why don't we take a moment to thank our sponsors here on Encounter Roleplay. That is Fantasy Grounds, our virtual tabletop of choice, which we'll be using today to make all of our rolls. And also the wonderful Wayland Games, from who you can get up to 20% off of regular retail price. And they're a really great British distributor as well, which is really good if you're in the UK and want some cheap shipping. And finally, let's not forget Tabletop Loot, who supply wonderful dice that we get to give away after every show here on the channel this year, and hopefully into next year. Waiting to see all those announcements for the season that is coming up very soon after Christmas. So, what happened last time? I remember there was like some little fight and then someone maybe became a god. Yeah, there
someone
was
became an orphan.
Right.
And I don't know where the fuck I am, so it could be worse.
Yeah. So let's see, a bit of a recap. Last time we had York and Jerry had traveled to Big Gouda's hideout, where they found that all of the Eastie gangs were teaming up with some of the militia and a few of the City Watch who had defected recently, and brought with them a great deal of arms and equipment to lead an insurrection of a sort. It was there that they learned that they weren't the only people who had been investigating and following some sort of Ratman conspiracy throughout the city, as they found out that the Big Gouda himself was in possession of a live Skaven captive, basically, who that they had plied with sumptuous sausages and cheeses to get as much information out of as possible. And it was at that moment that Jerry was to do it in, as it were. Although I believe maybe York, if I'm remembering correctly, York stepped in at that moment and did the deed himself. But not to be outdone, Jerry attempted the assassination of Big Gouda and wanted to see if his old pal Conrad Ehrenreich would be on board with a bit of a change of leadership. Meanwhile, back at Jerry's safe house, the rest of the party rest and recuperated, dodged the glances of Miltrude, who was quite sore that Jerry would bring her friends, or his friends, over to her house so late. But that was when, in the middle of warpstone-induced hallucination, that Van and the rest of the party started hearing a loud crashing sound careening down the alley towards them. And as they braced themselves for a fight or some sort of conflict, they discovered that it was Ferris, Van's father, who had been mutated in some sort of Cronenberg nightmare of a dwarf and a rat creature. And it was there in the narrow alley outside of Jerry's safe house that Van did battle with his mutant father while wearing his steampunk bear mech suit that he had been making all this time at university. And in the final moments of that battle, as Jerry succumbed to his cannibalistic urges, York seemed to have a burst of energy that played about him. And this ghost, who had been following him for some time now, whispered something demonic in his ear and awoken something within York that you can feel rising and stirring very rapidly within you. And it was in that moment that you heard other sounds from other streets, fighting going on, rampages through storefronts and warehouses. There is 2 large areas of the night sky that are on fire, both to the south, which would be the Southgate district that is under quarantine, and a new one towards the north, which seems to be somewhere near the Königsplatz Square of Marshals, which is the great sort of garden immediately before the Ducal Palace to the north in the city. So why don't we, in this moment, return to your characters one by one, remind us who they are and where what is going on, and we will start with Molly, but I think we're going to end with Mel.
So Molly had run out with her shank and thrust it into the crazed creature that was attacking the gang before ducking back, as she is in bad shape. She has taken warpstone into her body. She has been bitten, maimed, stabbed, kicked, dropped, brutalized in many ways, and patched up again by Mel, our wonderful doctor. And as the battle came to an end, Molly joined Jerry. That's his name. I was like, Van? No, Jerry. Molly joined Jerry in a proclamation of revolution. Down with the bourgeoisie, down with the conspiracy. This is just the first step. Change is a-coming. And Jerry's plan to murder Gouda and take over the, I think, are we the Easties or are we the Southies?
Easties.
Yeah, to take over the Eastie gang became clear, and Molly knows which tide to follow when they're turning around very quickly. And there she stands. Viva la revolution.
Nice. Yeah, and there is a small
keep things going.
there is a small group that is gathered outside. Those members of Jerry's gang that were with him, and then some residents from the rest of the apartment block that you're at. So yeah, there's a small chant coming up from here.
Between sessions, I did level up Molly, just so people who might be interested know. And she is now actually officially no longer a hustler. She is now a board. And she has a dose of weird root in her pocket. She has increased her dodge skill and her melee skill.
There you go. Excellent. And
York has a
so
weird root in her pocket as well.
yes. How about Van?
Van, he, again, at the end of the last episode, he kind of stalked off into the city, and he found his way to the college, where he just kind of stripped himself of all of his other vestments and everything, and just found just a pair of like work pants, like thick work pants, and he took the that big spike that he used to shave part of his beard and his hair off, and he's already grown kind of to this in the time it took him to get there. Because he's a true dwarf, and so he's busy basically fastening that spike to like a handle to make a weapon out of it, and just the whole time he's just gotta kill them. I forgot to kill them all. I'm going to kill them all. I'm going to kill them all. And he's just this mantra over and over. And if anybody talks to him or sees him, he doesn't pay them any mind, as he has just this kind of wild, lost look in his eyes, as he only has eyes for revenge.
Excellent. And how about York?
So York is a human witch. He has obviously been through a fairly substantial change. His eyes are massively open and dilated at the moment, and he's staring at things and people and intently, as he can see the kind of colors and winds of magic flow over them, and he's fascinated watching it happen, and fascinated. It's like he's been given an extra sight that he's seeing for the first time. So everything's kind of being taken in differently. He's hearing sounds that he's not quite sure of, and he's just trying to acclimatize to this new sensation.
Yes, and so seemingly wandering the streets, or
yeah,
not even
I
really...
imagine he's still somewhat contained, but maybe he's walking by people who might have talked to him. He's not aware of this chant going on. Maybe it's something obscure, like a sign or a puddle. He's watching the way that the colors of magic skip over the puddle, and they change and divert and make the water move. He looks a little bit like. Have you ever seen The Simpsons? The episode where Homer sees an alien, and it's actually Monty Burns massively drugged up. He looks a bit like Monty Burns massively drugged up, kind of walking along. Right. If you wanted a really obscure reference about him.
No, yeah, that's good. That's great. So York feels a presence, almost a pressure building up within him. And these sort of hallucinations around you become more and more vivid and more real the more that pressure builds up. And you start seeing that this ghost that you've been talking to is now always within your eyesight. Your eyesight. And it's, just a second. You see that, whereas before you couldn't really tell a face in its hood, you now see that there are 7 eyes of different colors shifting within the hood of it, staring at York as you wander through the side alleys around Jerry's safe house and have this hallucination. Now, Mel was whisked away in a moment, and some sort of spell takes hold. You were in the room when the Skaven sorcerer had cast his sort of sulfurous and cloudy magic, and you get the same sensation from that, Mel, and you find yourself in a cage, in a subterranean room. It's not very big. It's just sort of enough for you to stand up and walk around. You see others around you, most of them empty, but some of them look like they have people in them. And it looks like at the far end of this cave that has these cages sort of stacked in a U shape in it, you can see a crude door with a light poking out from underneath it. Right now it seems as though you're alone, and no one, those of you who share these cages with you, have not been alerted to your presence. So we'll go ahead and start with Mel, and see what, unless you'd like a minute to think about what you might do.
There are locks on all these cages?
Yes. Yeah, there seems to be locks on these cages.
Would I be able to reach down and try to mess with my knife? I think that would be your first instinct, is to try and get out of the cage.
Yeah, you reach for your knife and find that it's still there.
Okay, I'm gonna reach down and try to see if I can jimmy or slice or anything to the lock, whatever looks like makes the most sense based on the lock.
It's I mean, I was gonna say you can sort of like mess with it and hope that your luck holds or finds you. But I think let's see a pick lock talent here. Let's see which skill that is actually. Pick lock is if you have pick lock, you can use that. Otherwise, it is just dexterity.
Yep. I got a 33 out of 37.
So there is a 33 out of 37. You begin to mess with the lock, and you can feel it catching on something, but without being a trained locksmith or a thief, it's hard to tell what you're feeling. But your dagger isn't broken, and it seems like something in there is moving.
The light by the door, would I be able to see anything beside the cages? Light under the door, any sounds?
Between the light under the door and your night vision, you can see pretty well in here. It looks like there are about 12 or so cages, and as you look down, they are arranged over large triangular sigils that have been engraved into the floor.
Okay. Would these sigils be familiar at all? I'd assume that'd be more of a York thing.
Yeah, you're not. It looks magical.
Are any of the other people in the cages awake?
It doesn't look like it, no. There's one like 3 cages down to your right, and then beyond them, another 2 down. There's no one to your left. Based on what you can see from underneath the door, it looks as though figures are moving past it quite rapidly. You can see shadows sort of like flitting in front of the door, and hear sort of... Actually, give me a perception test for hearing.
What's my perception? 49. Please. 36 and a 49.
Yeah, you can hear something. It sounds like rodents chattering.
Of course. Of course. Why wouldn't it be? I would say with their half voice, and she doesn't want to be too loud because she doesn't want the rat people to come in yet, especially while she's still every once in a while trying to fiddle with the lock. She's gonna try to wake up or alert any of the people in the cages near her.
There's a minute where the closest one doesn't really say anything or do anything, and then it stand up, and it's a woman, a human woman, and she looks kind of like she's got a big bruise on her right above her eye, but otherwise seems to be just like maybe a approaching middle-aged townsfolk woman. Hello?
Hello there. Do you know where we are, or how did you get here?
I was at the protest that we were kicked out of our homes in Southgate, and I was at one of the barricades trying to get back in, and something happened to me. There was a push and a shove, and some of the new watchmen were there, and accompanied by others, and I don't know, hunched figures. I don't know. But I think they're here with us. And she keeps like nervously looking towards the door.
How long you been here? You know what's over there?
I don't know. I've just seen them every now and then. They would come in and take one of the others from the cages there, and I don't know how long I've been here. It seems like a while, but I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Fair enough, darling. Fair enough. How often are they coming in?
I haven't seen him in a while, but before that they were coming in very regularly. They never say anything to us. They just one of them would point, and then another two would take the prisoner out. I don't know what they did with him after that. And she, at this point, she's like, seems to be really freaking out and looking towards the door.
At this point, she'd be fiddling with the lock even more.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because there's not much else to do.
You can make me another roll.
Not a good one. The first one was better.
Yeah. Less progress. You can keep working as long as you don't roll like, let's say like above a 95.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're not running the risk of anything breaking or anything. It's just going to take a long time to figure out how this thing works. So is that you just keep working at the lock then until something changes?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Back up top. York, you've felt this presence build and build and build within you, and it's starting to get painful and like it's like you feel like you're not even yourself anymore as it builds.
I imagine this kind of pulls me out of my high for a second and my curiosity and kind of focuses my thoughts within. Can I yell out to this seven-eyed figure?
Mm-hmm.
What's happening to me?
It's you no longer hear it behind you, but now seems to come from all around. We are bearing witness to the birth of something great. York, you will be transformed by the experience.
What do you mean by transformed?
There's a power here at work, York. It is moving things, and it is the hand which guides the events that have unfolded, York.
Is that what I can feel? Gnawing inside my head, the pain.
Yes.
Feels like something's pecking at my skull. How can I stop this? I don't want this.
Just allow it, York.
I didn't agree to this. Can I attempt to throw some magical energy? I'm guessing it's not going to work. So I can make an attack roll if you want, but it's more like I send a burst of energy towards where it was standing.
Sure. Make me a just give me a casting roll.
Panda, is York trying to unsubscribe from this guy's mailing list?
I'm trying. Led into my DMs, and
happening?
I'm finding a way to get rid of him. That is actually going to be a fail, just a standard failure.
Okay.
That is doubles though, so that would be a miscast.
Oh, nice. All right. So what does your magical blast look like here?
I imagine it's a swirling rainbow. Makes it sound a little bit camp and a little bit fluffy, but I want it to be like these colors are mashing, and it's chromatic is probably the best way to describe it. It shifts color and it shifts shape, and it kind of lands where he was standing.
Nice. So it sort of splits off and the beam sort of careens off the buildings, bouncing off one and hitting another, and where it hits sort of leaves these great gouges of magical energy, and sometimes not even destroying them, but simply just transforming the bricks and mortar and wood of the buildings into other things. And let's see, what's giving
Got 74 on my miscast table.
Ooh, all right. Let's see, where is our miscast table? 74. I need I need York, Van, and Molly to all make me an average athletics test. Or fall prone. As York, as you cast this magic, there is a whatever pressure it's building within you is literally forcing its way into reality, and there is a massive earthquake centered on York that shakes the foundations of the neighborhood.
Yeah, York falls straight on his back.
Okay. How about then from Molly?
Molly literally tumbles off of the whatever it is she's found to stand on. She just falls down flat on her ass with a great big oof.
Yeah, Van follows.
Everybody's knocked down, and as York, as you fall down, there is a moment at which you sort of like see yourself from the third person, right? Like you observe yourself, have an out-of-body experience, and for a split second, you see a form coexisting with your own. It's a statuesque, 12-foot tallish human, but the proportions are just a little off. Head's a little elongated, arms are a little too long and thin, 6 fingers instead of the 5, and clearly its own form is unstable as it separates from York's and stands in front of each of you in your own separate locations, in your own separate parts of the city, and looks down where you are in the Skaven prison with the terrified prisoners, in the workshop as you craft your weapon of vengeance, and amidst the crowd as you seek to rile them up and whip them into a lather even as your own body fails you. And it looks down with sort of these golden eyes that hide a hint of that polychromatic magic that York has been summoning, and looks down at you. Assist me, and I will put what you most desire within your reach. The time is ripe for you to seize what is yours. Take it. And it seems to await some kind of reply.
Yeah, since the events, Van has just kind of been mumbling this, like I said, this mantra. And hearing that, he hammers like once, twice more, and stops. And he stops his mantra and looks up at this figure. What can you do so that I might kill them all?
And it peers into Van's eyes. I will gift you such engines of destruction that you will paint rivers of blood with your enemies, that you will slaughter them by the score, if that is what you wish. Their science and architecture are no match for my master and his gifts, which I am happy to bestow upon you. And you can see him sort of like, as he holds out his hands, you can see strange weapons that Van doesn't quite realize what he's looking at. They appear like firearms, but unlike any you've ever seen, swords and axes whose blades seem to be made of almost a blurred metal or living things themselves. All of them belch forth smoke and electricity and other mechanical byproducts. You can sort of see them, and your workshop becomes a vision of a vast factory of various diabolical engines and machines that stretch as far as the eye can see.
He kind of looks at those weapons and like looks into the factory and then like that future.
Mm-hmm.
And he rests his eyes on like maybe like something akin to a pistol, but whatever. And something akin to a this pick that he's fashioning. And he takes this thing that he's fashioning and maybe like sits it down inside of that vision. Loosening the grip and then picking up the hilt of that weapon, whatever it is, be it an axe or a hammer. And he reaches out and picks up like a pistol, like some kind of large pistol with the other hand. You can keep all of that bullshit. Just give me these and give me my vengeance and get the fuck out of my way.
Go forth. Seek your vengeance then. Their heart, those you seek, lie beneath the city.
And Van just starts walking out of the college.
All right. And how about for Molly?
What was the original question? That was so badass. I've completely lost the train of thought. And what was the original question?
There's a moment where it's assist me, and I will put your dreams within your grasp.
Molly is gonna actually reach into her skirt, pull out the hip flask, the loyal hip flask, and tip it as if she's gonna take a good long drink, and just nothing comes out. This thing has been drained empty by Mel and Molly in the last little bit of shenanigans. And hearing the voice and looking around the city, Molly is actually going to stop and look at her friends, her companions, and say, "What do I need your out for? I got all of this slot. I'll be fine." And she's going to dust herself off and stand up and try and remember what her accent is, because it's been a hot second. And in the rubble, she spots one of Jerry's dog ends, and she's going to just brush that off and shove it in her mouth and turn to one of the nearby Easties and click her fingers and get him to light it for her. And as the cigarette butt flares, or the match flares and the cigarette lights, she has, for a brief moment, at the corners of her vision, the effects of the warp stone that she's had 2 hits of, and she feels something in her body, I think, shifting and changing. And I think the words, if this being can read her mind, I think she's going over the words in her head and she's reliving those moments. But for the visible front, she's just pretending like it's not happening, and like we're going ahead with our plan to take over the city and everything's gonna be fine.
Yeah, it reaches its palm out, and in its palm is a pile of dark emerald powder that it reaches down and hands to Molly.
And she holds it on her hand. I think even the contact against her skin has like this fizzing effect in her veins.
Mhm.
And she doesn't have the self-control to resist this, I don't think. It's right there, it's right in front of her, and she knows how good that small bit was and how it got her through, and she's just gonna take a little on her finger, push her fag to like one side of her mouth and just inhale. Alright then, you're an Eastie now. Welcome to the crew. And she's gonna pretend like she's now recruiting him. And that's totally how this is going. I'll consider this your buy-in, shall I?
Alright.
This is fine.
This is fine.
This is fine.
This is fine.
And
Alright,
carefully she'll tip what's left on her hand into her handkerchief. And then sniff up any like residue.
Alright, give me that endurance test for Molly.
Alright. Pew! 41, and that's versus endurance,
Yeah.
which is a fail
Alright.
by 1
Molly-
degree.
Molly gains 3 yeah, 3
I
corruption
think I got 3
points
last time.
from that.
Which brings me up to a total of 7.
7.
Oh,
Which is not
boy.
the number we were looking for. We were looking to stay below 4.
Right. Which in that case, I need a very hard endurance test. That's going to be at minus 30 for Molly.
I don't think I can make that. I only have 28 endurance. So I'd have to roll a critical success. That's the only way I could do this.
Yeah.
Well, I got A1. It was just also accompanied by a 17.
71. You feel that's all right. Let's roll some dice on here. You feel something stirring and changing within you, Molly, as this statuesque human with its writhing sort of skin and its golden eyes, which might be just 2 but could also be 7, you're not quite sure, and it might actually be a giant six-winged parrot. It might actually be a giant six-winged parrot serpent that you can't quite make out. But I need you to roll me a D100 on the corruption table.
Jerry, that thing changes shape for you. Another
D100 roll.
D100. 13. Lucky number 13.
Lucky number 13. So the first mutation here that Molly gets is distended digits. And so it is up to you as to what exactly that means, but it adds plus 10 to your dexterity. Distended digits.
So what I imagine happens is she takes the fag out, she chucks it down as it's done, and then she's gonna like crack her knuckles and stretch her hands out, and there's actually like another knuckle length added to each of her fingers as she kind of finishes this, and the nails that she has all grow a little bit longer, so they're literally like super long fingers.
Nice. Excellent. Molly begins her path towards mutation. This creature seemingly pleased by it. All right, Mel, this creature stands before you and has offered you this. Assist it, and it will put what you desire within your grasp.
Worked all my life for all sorts of things, and half of it just went gone in the middle of the night. Just get me back to my friends, and it's yours.
And it looks down at you, and the lock just falls to the floor, and there is nothing else you desire?
I've gotten by enough. Thank you.
and you have a sense of the exact route and timing you would need to take in order to escape out of here without anyone noticing you.
Okay.
You know exactly when to open that door where no one's going to see you, exactly when to cross that hall, which is in the third door, like a whole thing. You know the exact way to get out of here and back to where your friends are, as well as how long and the timing of it.
All right. Mel's not completely unkind. She's gonna take her dagger, not the one that Molly gave her, and hand it to the woman on the way out.
Okay.
You're gonna need this.
All right. The woman seems terrified but appreciative and tucks the dagger within her clothes. Your moment approaches. Are you ready to take it?
Yes.
All right. So you have been basically gifted with as many critical successes as you would need to get out of here by this creature. So we will assume that if you want to narrate part of that or tell us how you ghost your way out, it will take a while, but no one knows you're gone.
And I think she would head towards Van before she'd go to York at this point, if possible.
Okay.
I know he's
right.
At the college.
Excellent. As you flee here, you open this door, and you see beyond you like a tiered room. It looks like there are 3 levels to it, with sort of a spiraling metal grated walkway around other rooms that look a lot like yours. And you can see all sorts of hooded rat men scurrying around here all over the place. There must be dozens and dozens of them that are coming and going. It looks like there's a small mining cart or something that has attachments for the individual cells on them, and that's maybe being loaded up with some others, and there's a tunnel that leads a different way, but you know that if you take the left here and then go up these steps and all that business, that you could be out of this place. I'm guessing that's what you do because you're on your way to Van.
Because I'm on my way to Van, and while Mel had success fighting Van's father, she's not much of a fighter unless she has to. So yeah, okay. I think she's gonna sneak right on out.
All right. And finally, York. The creature turns to you. Assist me, and whatever you desire, I will place within your grasp. We're already marked by our master, York. Embrace it.
So York will immediately think about like attack, and then he'll stop for a second and go to fear. But then like he just stares for a second at this monster, like he sees its hand, and it kind of sparks back a memory. He remembers back when he was at the Strigani camp, and he remembers a creature like this holding his sister's hand, and he's kind of, he remembers a moment where there was a witch hunter and a mob come to root out his camp, basically, and he turned to him and his sister turned to a book in his grandmother's chest after she died, and he remembered being asked the same question and being promised a way to keep his family from being killed by these witch hunters, and he feels oddly warmed because his family is safe. I think I've seen you before. You've been with me for a while. I think you've helped me before. And York just kind of reaches up and takes his hand. I need your help. I don't think I can do this on my own.
You have power within you, York. Just as others have seen. I can show you how to wield it. Then everything you wish can be yours. Wrongs can be righted. The past rewritten.
Every day I've dreamt of holding power, knowing what these winds are for and being able to use them. Please help me. I know I can trust you. Show me your ways.
Follow me. I have something to show you. And the form begins to stride off into the darkness. For all the others, y'all looked away briefly, and it just wasn't there. But York, you continue to see it. And as it walks down the alley, this you're not sure if you're still hallucinating or what, but you can see that this bubble around it is warping the buildings. Bricks crumble or disintegrate into nothingness. A branch or a plank of wood starts regrowing as if it were a living tree. Plaster becomes, smoke or other more ephemeral materials as it begins to stride down the alleyway out towards the main thoroughfares. And you follow after it. What does York do?
Yeah, I'm standing right beside it.
Okay, all right. York follows it.
I feel at complete ease with this thing. It feels like this has my best interests and it's going to be able to help me.
Mm-hmm. Our master unravels all conspiracies. It confounds all inquisitions. To be its agent is to be an agent of change, metamorphosis. York, do you understand?
And he sees something in me.
Sees a great deal in you. Ambition, will, passion.
I've had a taste. I can't give this up. I'll do whatever I need to do. And my
Will
friend,
you accept?
I accept.
Yes.
But will it hurt?
All change is painful, York. But those who adapt thrive. And he reaches down and seemingly touches York in 7 different locations at once. And you can feel a moment of exquisite agony as you are marked. And I need York to make me a D100 roll.
This is only good. 68.
Sweet. All right, give me a...
One away from a good time.
Right?
Yeah, give me another D100 roll.
That kind of show today.
How about just a 9? Only one
What do
person.
you mean that kind of show today?
So
Okay,
York
it's that kind of show every
sprouts.
day.
York sprouts feathers on his head, as wherever there would be hair and on your head, it is now feathers. As York begins his transformation into something else. So, party, you guys are all sort of separate. We've got Mel on their way to find Van, and where Van is. He's at his workshop, but if you went there right now, you wouldn't be there. You got to go to this intersection. That's how you're going to get to him. Molly is you're swept up in some sort of revolutionary fervor, as well as undergoing a bit of a biological revolution yourself. And then Van, you're sort of on your way towards just have a sort of an intuitive sense of where you go. Now, I'd like for you to describe what sort of weapons from Warhammer 40K that Van Ferrison would have picked up from the from the whatever you use. Yeah, I can't hear you, Pruitt.
Hopefully, he picked up a working microphone.
Yeah.
Voxcom.
So yeah, he picked up a honest to God bolt pistol with the Aquila on the handle, the whole nine. So it's this just big monstrosity of a pistol that he just kind of like straps a thing to and puts it across his back, and then he picks up a power axe, and you know, as this pick that he made, he kind of like puts it inside the vision of that thing, and when he pulls it out, like he can feel that piece of his father like fueling this thing as it kind of thrums to life and just kind of hums with unimaginable power. And yeah, on the way out, he's he kind of turns around and he's like, I'm not gonna push it. Never mind. You got any armor? No, he's going to just there's a dwarf there's a dwarf that he's always hated there, and that dwarf has been working on a suit of armor, and he's just gonna like put it on and just be like, fuck this guy, and then strap his stuff on and walk out of the workshop.
All right. We'll have to work out what these weapons and the like mean, but they'll be suitably nasty here. So there we go. What I'd like to know then is for sort of everyone else, what's their immediate goal? Because we've got Mel on the way to Van. Molly, you're stirring up the revolution, and you find that the crowd is starting to gather and enlarge, and the fervor that you seem to be have incited is growing more and more as people are starting to grab household implements. Various weapons are produced, and a sort of bourgeois blood for the bourgeoisie chant begins to erupt from a sizable crowd now that is gathered.
And we, the people of Midnight, will be put down to no more. And she points, and her finger is big so long, it just keeps going.
Yeah, you just see this tall, statuesque figure just walking amongst them. Seemingly, they're all oblivious to it, right? But you can just see it stalking amongst the crowd, and its eyes always locked on Molly.
And we shall barricade the streets and stop the nobses from trolling around in their carriages. And we shall throw our sandwiches and mark them with the muck that they treat us as. And she's just like spieling the things that she's been preaching for like the last 5 years from on top of the bar. But first, we got a crisis on our hands. They call us the rats. But there are real rats beneath this city, and they intend to rise up. But following our great leader, Jerry, and his great Brick, and his dog, Alan, we shall stop the scourge, and we shall be the new Nobses. In fact, there shall be no Nobs. No door shall be barred to us. And she just finds herself talking, and she glances over, and Van's mouth is full of void.
Yes, it is. There's a sizable mob. The shout goes up from amongst the crowd to head towards the merchants district. This really actually kind of very close to the old quarter near where you are, and let's get them out, drive them out of their houses. That's the sort of the chant that begins to go up.
And we should start with the ones in the Sigmar Temple, the ones who said they would stop chaos but have lifted not a finger. Less it is to gild their outhouses.
That cry unites the crowd, and a large mob led by Molly then travels north to take on the Sigmarite temple there. And you can see as they walk that much like York, that this tall figure walks sort of side by side and hand in hand with Molly as she leads this mob northward. I need Molly to make me one more roll on the mutation table.
I sure will. Here we go. 21. That's a lucky number 2. We're good to go here.
The mutation is Enormous Eye, which grants you plus 10 on perception tests involving a sight, whether it should become cyclopean or just has a big eye. It's up to you.
Can we say that both of our eyes glow? Like, the more outraged she's getting, the blood vessels just expanding, and she just gets these really big eyes. Anime, really disproportionate eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And as her eyes grow big and she sees the whole of the world, she looks for the wolf that she had sensed running with her through the streets of Middenheim as we had fled to the safe house. And when she cannot see him, because I imagine she doesn't see him because he was all in her head, she's gonna let out a giant
Oh yeah. The mob begins to howl like wolves as they make their way towards the Sigmarite temple. So here, all right, Van and Mel, and then as you've worked your way up through these tunnels and aqueducts, and are now literally, Mel pops out of a sewer grate in an intersection as Van is walking through it.
How the fuck are you?
So Van, he's walking and he stops and looks at Mel.
Don't ask.
I'm going this way. And he just keeps walking. It's just kind of this slow, Van has always had kind of a swagger to him, and he feels like he owned this town a bit and everything. And now he's walking a little bit slower than normal. He walks with the gait of the hero from Blam, if you've ever seen that, where it's just inexorably slow, where it's just like this calm, and Mel, you think you hear him mumbling something, but it's hard to hear and his mouth is closed. But he has these odd weapons strapped to his hip and his back. And he's wearing this all black armor. And he doesn't even really other than telling you, I'm going this way. He just keeps walking.
This guy. Mel's gonna join in step. I can't imagine what the hell you're going through right now, Van.
It's called
But
vengeance.
I'm with you.
Good.
She's gonna hand him the gun she still has to reload as they're walking.
Mm-hmm.
And almost absent-mindedly, he'll kind of just reload it in very deliberative motions, almost like robotic. He remembers how to do this, but it's the joy of dealing with machinery and all that is just kind of left him. The knowledge remains, though.
Sure. It's almost as you're reloading it, you can't even help but think of all the ways this could be improved, and just how easy it would be to make this better. And you feel as though you're in touch with some kind of ingenuity or something that wasn't there. But the gun's reloaded.
So in that case, while he's going, then he's going to take a couple of shot and run it along the edge of his axe and hone them down smaller. and reload it with like multiple, like a grape shot kind of thing. That's like just makeshift on the fly, so that it's instead of just shooting one pellet, he just kind of wraps it in a light linen to keep all the pellets in, like, and hands it back to her like barrel up, and that should do it.
Works for me. Shove it in her pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Walk in step with him. She's not going to ask him too many questions because she knows his dad dying has changed him forever.
Yeah. And so where exactly is Van headed?
The thing told him that they're at the heart of the city underground. He's going to the heart of the city, and then he's going to go underground.
Okay. So, let me paint you a picture as everybody now is sort of traveling across the city. There are clearly two large fires currently making their way through the city, one in the south and one to the north. The north, like I said, is definitely coming from the area of the palace. And those of you who sort of actually both I'll get to that in a second. There's clearly coming from the palace. There's another large fire coming from the Southgate region. You can hear fighting coming from all around you. And as you move out of the side alleys and the like, you can see that little groups of militia and sort of the gangsters that were gathered at the last drop have started to do battle with the corrupt watchmen and the occasional group of robed Skaven that you can see. And these little skirmishes are taking place sort of all across the city as fighting and urban street fighting begin to erupt. You can also see the corpses and signs of damage of other large mutants that have been unleashed on the city, similar to Ferris. You come across their bodies. Some of them have been slain. Others of them have slaughtered a great number of citizens in their wake. And it is in this environment of rioting, large fires, urban fighting, and a Skaven attack on the city with large mutants that you make your way across to your destinations. Let's see here, because y'all are each going to different locations. We'll kind of keep up with the same sort of round robin like we're doing. And York, you notice that this being is taking to everybody is healed as well. You find yourself rejuvenated and invigorated and healed. York, you find yourself making your way north, and you can see across the Great Garden and into the Palace of Marshals. A large crowd has gathered, and they're sort of silhouetted against a bonfire. It looks like the buildings surrounding the Square of Marshals are on fire.
Can I see this mob human? Are they of not necessarily human? They're not rats, is what I'm asking.
Correct. They seem to be humans. They seem to be actually like mostly like lower class laborers and the like from the Southgate district. Actually, the closer you get to them, you recognize faces and the accent. These are the Southies.
These people. What are we doing here? What does your master want us to do?
My master desires nothing other than the elimination of stagnation, tearing down of hierarchies and power. We are here to witness this transformation of your city. And beneath us is my destination. And you can see now that the figure has gone less humanoid and is definitely more avian and serpentine the further and further that you've walked. And you're sure now that it's not even really walking, that it seems to be sort of floating or hovering of some kind. York.
And I imagine the more we've walked, the less that I've seen to notice it, and I just see it as the same figure as before. This figure from my past. So we're going down, and we're gonna kill them.
We can participate in a slaughter if you like, but their fervor is what I need. And he sort of you're sort of surveying this scene from a distance. It doesn't look like anybody sees the two of you at all. They rush past you. There's all sorts of fighting going on around you as you can see members of the City Watch are firing on the crowd. The crowd is firing and fighting back. They've had some sort of pitched melee as they've all just gotten halberds and pikes and the like, and are having just a big sort of push of a pike right there in the middle of the square of marshals. And on some platform, it looks like they've erected a temporary executioner's podium of some kind, but it's difficult to see in the firelight. The scene of just sort of mayhem unfolds around you, and it seems as though your companion is just taking it in and enjoying the view. That's your impression.
Oh, are we going to step in? Which side are we on?
Which side do you wish to be on, York? The side that's lied and perpetrated deception against the people of your city, or those who have anger, frustration, and rage? Which side would you weigh in on?
I mean, I've been on one of those sides, and I felt what the injustice is like. Are you saying we can make a change here?
We can change whatever you wish, York.
Can we help these people? Let's try and take a few of these guards out. Let's let them push through. If the guards capitulate here, they'll be able to push further into the city.
Very well, York. And you can, you sort of feel yourself rush back in and are less sort of like removed from the situation. You can hear the sound sort of get much more vibrant and bright. You can feel the heat from the fire and the rush of stray bullets past you. You can tell that you are back in the scene and not just sort of looking at it from afar.
So yeah, like hearing snaps in, everything becomes a lot more clear. I can maybe the smell of all this fire and burning kind of hits me first. And I kind of realize I've got to focus now. These guards are standing in the way of what I want suddenly. So I'm going to start pushing through the crowd towards them.
Okay.
And try and fight my way. I guess it's kind of swimming upstream a little bit, but I'm knocking people over. I'm focused on this point in front of me to get to this, maybe where there's a guard post or where there's this execution potentially going on.
Yeah, so it looks as though the guard, or rather the City Watch, have formed a defensive perimeter around this makeshift executioner's block, and it's the Southies and others who are pressing in on them. Now, there are some groups of the Watch who are on the outside of that, attempting to break them up. And those are the people that you first come across. You come across what might be, you would guess, like 3 or 4 patrols, so about 25 watchmen, and they're all talking in a language you don't recognize. You're not sure what it is. It's not Middenheim. It's not the language and dialect that's spoken in Middenheim. They don't look like they're from around here, but they are dressed in the watchman's livery of the city. What does York do?
I'm going to look for a nice big group of them. It feels like this is a bit of a tinderbox, and it feels like it needs a spark. So I'm going to try and be that spark. So as we're out of combat, I'm going to do I'm going to channel and start building this power up inside myself.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much going to be all I need. So I can cast if as long as we're not in rounds, I'll channel.
Right,
then
we're not
I'll
really in combat.
my blast. Oh Jesus, that's a 97. That's a massive failure.
Even with the bonuses that you get.
Actually, no, that might work. Yes, because I needed a 0, so that'll make me succeed.
Okay.
It's dead on, but it's a success. So
Right.
It's gonna be a big. How big is it gonna be? It's gonna be like a 5-yard explosion, like a big. So this bright flash comes out of my hand again, kind of changing colors as it flies towards it. It splashes down and hits everyone kind of in a 5-yard circle around it, and it's just going to do 3 damage to everyone in that area of effect.
Okay. There is a as you let loose the spell, you can feel it grow and take on more magical energy as it flies through the air, and as it hits the guardsmen, they is it fire? Is it just sort of magical energy? What sort of?
It is a magical fire. Like it's. I imagine it kind of burns and glows, and kind of the embers are still that kind of chromatic color changing effect.
Gotcha. As it sort of like scorches and scalds them and catches on their clothes on fire, and this sort of like knot of them that were getting ready to charge one of the mob's barricades that they'd erected to protect themselves from outside influence. It just crumbles as half the group of them catch on fire, and the other halves don't seem to know quite what to be able to do or exactly where the attack came from. And so do you just like otherwise wade in and start mopping up here?
Yeah, so I'm hoping I will stand back to see if that spurs people on, whether they see these guardsmen, like whether that's enough. And then I might pick some more people off, but I'm hoping that's literally the spark that they see weakness and this crowd go.
Yeah, there's a brief moment where the sort of the tension in the air is at almost a standstill, and then it seems to snap as a group of the Southie mob rushes forward towards the watch position, and with like butchers' cleavers and workmen's tools and instruments begin to just like start laying into the watch and overwhelming them by their sheer numbers. The entire time your statuesque and tall friend just sort of walks amongst them casually and seems to just soak in the mayhem, all while York lends considerable spell support from the side. Those of you not present can hear from the direction of the Square of Marshals the sounds of battle and fighting, and that's sort of what you hear. Yeah,
I will try and do. I'll probably send one more at this executioner stand to kind of. I want to set this thing on fire. I want it burning.
All right.
So they're my 2 key targets: getting them pushing through and setting fire to this place of execution.
Excellent. All right then. So yeah, Molly. Right about the time y'all get to the Sigmarite Temple is when you start hearing the sounds of this renewed fighting. And the Sigmarite Temple and the Square of Marshals are not that far away from each other. They're sort of almost practically next door. You can see flames leaping up from the buildings surrounding the Square of Marshals, the shouts of the crowds, the report of the firearms. Your crowd, howling like wolves, have taken down the sort of marble statue of one of the old high capitulars from the Sigmarite era, and are now sort of using it as a makeshift battering ram to try to get inside the temple.
And Molly is standing atop the plinth that it was once on with a brick in hand, and she's just going, oh, trying to like help them keep rhythm on what they're doing. She knows a lot about thrusting and rhythm, so I'm hoping that's going to help.
Good call.
Encouraging the penetration of barriers.
Yes. They are whipped into a frenzy here. They're throwing picking up cobblestones, throwing them through the stained glass windows of the church. This place is built like a partial fortress anyway, so it could withstand a concerted effort, but there's no guards here really. There's some, but you massively outnumber them. And you can see that the crowd has just grown larger as you've walked through here. What's Molly's goal here?
Molly's goal is to rip this place down to the ground. And when we're done with this, we'll get back to work and do serious business of taking over the city. But right now, we're just gonna rip this apart brick by boring brick.
All right.
Molly has always hated this temple, and it will not be here.
It will not be here.
Done.
All right. Your friend is still with you, walking amongst the mob, and let's see here. Give me one more roll on the
All right, sure.
on the table.
As I roll, I am gonna actually I want to throw a brick to him so he can have a weapon for the madness. 25.
Let's see, 25.
I got like the broken marble hand of this dude, and that's why I lob.
Right.
The direction of my little chaos agent buddy.
Let's see here. 25 gives us another like a duplicate one, so I can either use. We can either use. Yeah, let's go roll again.
Yeah, let's do this. 83. That's a very different number.
That is very different. Wow. Okay. Uneven horns is what Molly gets.
So
uneven horns.
As the hand of the fallen Sigmarite prophet, whoever he was, kind of cascades through the air, out of Molly's head, from between her blonde locks, around the beret, these two twisting horns just spiral out in chaotic directions.
Oh yeah. You get +1 armor points to your head, and can deal damage equal to your strength bonus with them.
Good. I have no armor on my head, so that's useful. And I think as Liz fast forward, if she sees anyone notice, she says, "Ulrich blesses us! Push on!"
There's a surge and a cry as your friend, who now does seemingly resemble more parrot serpent than human, hurls the hand that you had tossed to him at the Sigmarite temple, and the sort of the central entrance there that they're trying to batter down explodes outward as the magic that he suffused in the hand hits the holy wards of the temple, and the front gates of it collapse inward, killing some of the mob who was there, but the rest of them surge over and crush their dying bodies in their furor to get inside the temple. And like an egg cracked, its yolk is now vulnerable. Yes, Molly.
As the surge pushes on, Molly is actually going to turn and look over her shoulder towards the wolf's head, which is just down around the corner. And she is going to attempt to slip into the crowd, and she wants to go down to the wolf's head. She's pretty sure this is now going to be ripped apart. She can come back and check in a second. But her hip flask is empty, and the wolf's head's there. So she's going to go there and hope that her friends are also going to be there. Because she kind of lost them in the crowd. Where the hell did they go?
Yeah, where the hell did they go? All right, so Molly makes her way towards the wolf's head. And
I'll roll a stealth as well.
Yeah. For Van and Mel, you stalk your way through the city. You hear from the north, general direction where you're headed, there's this sounds of battle. You hear gunshots, all sorts of things. Great big fire has erupted from that direction. And it's kind of in line with where y'all are headed.
Okay. Yeah, Van would, if that's where we're headed, he's here to kill, so he would kind of head in that direction. because taking as many of these fuckers as he can on the way is part of the whole deal. So, you know, if that takes him by the Sigmarite Temple and the Wolf's Head and everything, you know, so be it.
It actually takes you close to where they are at the Square of Marshals. That's more towards certainly towards the heart of the city, and is where you just have sort of an instinct for.
Okay, well then I head towards the Square of Marshals then.
Gotcha. All right, then. I have... you come across the scene of mayhem as a mob has clearly begun clashing with the City Watch, and you can see flashes of fire coming from further across this urban battlefield. The houses and buildings all around the Square of Marshals are on fire, as well as some sort of structure that's in the middle of the square itself. And it looks like some kind of riot or something has gone wrong, as you see corpses of watchmen sort of strung up, impaled, and many of them mutilated in bizarre and fantastic manners. The fighting is still going on, but it seems as though whatever burst of intensity has died down a bit, and it's now more of a rout or of some kind. Just a few scattered watchmen, many of them being butchered by the mob. How do you two of you proceed?
Looks like somebody's making light work of us.
Yes. They must all die. They must all be destroyed. They must all die. And then he kind of trails back off to mumbling. So the guardsmen are the ones that are allied with the Skaven, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, if he doesn't see any Skaven to kill, like, he's, like, again, he doesn't give a shit about this mob. If any of them get in his way, they're going to lose a limb or something. But, but yeah.
You see Skaven. I mean, like, if what you're looking for Skaven. You have seen them on the rooftops occasionally. You've seen them, flitting through alleyways and the like, kind of this entire time. And here, in this, as this battle is dying down in the square, this sort of outburst of violence, you can see them along the corners of the battlefield watching. They're usually nearby or close to units of guardsmen, but you can see some of them have, say, long rifles that they are posted up on balconies with and are picking off members of the mob. You can see some of them are scattered away in alleyways, attempting to, ambush, people that are running by, things like that. They're not out in the open, but you can see them along the corners and in the dark places of the square.
In that case, seeing them posted up, he kind of like looks around, and then in fluid motion, like whips the bolter out and just starts going to town. Like, not necessarily blasting. I mean, he's blasting towards them, but he's more of like blasting their cover away, as he's just shooting and just unloading as much as he can on the ones that he can see.
Gotcha. All right, so here's how the bolt pistol is going to work then. We are going to say that use your regular ballistic skill. If you have black powder, then you can use that as well. It is a gun. You're sort of familiar with the properties of it. In terms of damage, gosh, let me see real quick. Go ahead and make your attack while I think about this.
Yeah.
This is fine.
Okay. Well, that first one was a failure by one degree of failure. So, off to a great start.
All right.
It's not used to the weight.
It's not used to the weight of it, sure.
Yeah. Did you remember to turn it on?
I turned the gun off and back on again.
Unplugged it back on again. Your bullet, though, like whistles through the air, and it sort of like explodes out of the gun and streaks across, and the corner of this building where they were explodes as whatever munition that this thing spits out just shatters it and opens up a hole in the wall from where it was. So
I
go
did
ahead.
say I was aiming at the cover, not them.
That's very true. Yes. So you're right. So in that case, you're shooting at a building. It explodes outward, shattering the cover that they were hiding behind and blowing a hole in the building that it's in. Anything? You just like go through the square shooting at them. How do you? Where's Van headed?
He's he's heading to kill them. Like he sees a big enough group of his quarry, and there's people here. Whatever, I don't care. And so he's just walking towards them, just and then eventually he'll put his gun away and pull out this freaking axe.
Okay.
And
nice.
Get to the dirty business at hand.
Get to the dirty business. Mel, obviously, you're right there when Van starts shooting at them and making his way forward. But York, you hear this. The mob, after a surge of violence in this, as it washed over the defenses of the Watchmen and began sort of hacking them up and attacking them, it started to move northward towards the palace itself. Sweeping sort of all in its way. There's really only a handful of members of the mob left behind that are kind of just delighting in the slaughter of the whole thing. Are you with the main force, or
I imagine we're still kind of floating around at the back. It's kind of just being that, get in long enough to like start some shit and then back off and just kind of watch what happens. I will ask my companion, what was that noise?
Your friends have joined us. And he points back towards behind you, and you can see an armored dwarf with some kind of gun shooting at some unseen foe, and what you think is Mel, I guess, close by.
I'll look to him like incredibly, like with jealousy in my eye. Wait, you said he'd chosen me. Is everyone like me now?
Not everyone is like you, York, but I need champions. People who will follow me. You are the one that I chose to enter into this world from York, but the others are my agents as well, and our master's agents.
There's gonna be a twinge of jealousy, like a look of glee that was there in York's eye is just faded slightly, especially the first fucking one he saw was Van. I think he was feeling like he's been chosen for greatness, and then for someone that you fucking hate to be turning up and be like and look like he's got what he wanted as well. Like, it's tarnished. This medal is
Use it, York. Use it to fuel your power.
York just nods and he'll walk over. Van.
York, what are those feathers on your head? What the fuck is going on here?
There's always been greatness in me. I guess I found out how to unlock it.
Hey, there's some interesting shit going on, isn't there? You've done a good job here.
Has someone visited you?
And at that, like,
go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say at that, like, Van was heading towards Skaven, axe in hand, and he finally like stops and like shakes his head a bit and looks over at York. Are you the reason for this? And he's kind of just holding the axe up just a little bit.
Are you going to thank me?
Maybe one day. And then he just continues to walk by.
I don't think
And
he's
now-
doing well with his
What?
dad gone.
I mean, who would?
Aye.
At least I can look back and I know I got a family waiting back for me at home. Mel, what were you given? And I'll look around to see if she's got any mutations or anything with.
I think I do need. Actually, I need from Mel a. Test is it real quick? Pull it up. The mental test, not endurance. The other one. Cool. Thank you. Thank you, rulebook. Cool test for Mel. Now that sort of things have died down a bit. Yeah.
I had a 60 and my cool is at 45, so.
All right, so Mel's got a corruption, a point of corruption added for that. This one more mental than physical, but I mean, yeah.
York will kind of reach to his plumage. He'll pull out a feather and he'll tuck it into her jacket. You don't need to worry. I can help you. We've got work to do.
Aye, we do. I'm here to serve. I know I'm not the greatest fighter, and I've kept you all patched up as best I could, but it's time to finish this, don't you think? Start something new.
York will wink at her and go, we better follow the help. And he'll
Aye.
start following behind Van.
Same. She kind of twinges as she goes, but she follows right in step.
All right. All right. So, while at this point the Skaven initial attack by Van has left many of the sort of Skaven that were there confused and put off. So Van finds himself looking around and finding not really anybody to attack at the moment. You're standing at the feet of I don't know, 2 or 3 of them that you did manage to catch, but they're quick and sticking to the shadows. So where's Van at right now? It looks like you can see that York and Mel are talking.
Okay. Well, Van kind of sees that they've kind of scattered, and instead of giving chase, running, almost like he is that which follows, and he just centers himself, feels that sensation of where he needs to go, corrects himself by a few degrees, and then begins stalking just at the same pace, like a metronome, his feet striking the ground, echoing through the courtyard.
It appears as though the resistance, that the Skaven are putting up resistance at the walls of the palace and have used that as a line of fortification that the mob is now attacking. And you can see now that there is both mixed in with the defenders, the Watch and the Skaven seemingly fighting side by side as this growing mob with Van, you can see your friend in the midst of it, attacking the front gates of the palace. Before we leave here, this scene, what are the last of y'all doing? We've got Van stalking after them, presumably taking his time now that he knows where they're at. How about York and how about Mel?
Can we can't see any sign of sorcerers or anyone from the Mages College, can we?
Not really. No, there are. It seems as though there are some magicians on the walls. Maybe members of the Watch that are that stayed and fought alongside the rest of the Watch. But there's no mages or anything amongst the mob, certainly.
We need to find another way in. This will keep them busy, but This isn't the way in. Are we going to need to steer that big fucker away from him now? He's pretty blinkered. You got any way you could talk to him or try and steer him the right direction?
Sure, I could try.
And almost, I think almost preternaturally, like Van hears that and he just kind of like stops for a second, turns, and he goes, "The only way is through," and then begins walking again.
Well,
All right.
And he's pulling this big bolt pistol out again as he has like the axe up on his shoulder.
Yeah, it's reloaded itself, seemingly. So, yeah. And
Maybe,
so Van walks into the mob.
maybe we need to let him do his thing and find another way in, York. What do you think?
I guess so. Well, he'll probably get himself killed anyway. I guess Molly said no.
There's a bunch of ruckus going on. She can still be out there yet. I mean, nobody's seen Jerry in a little while. King of the Bricks or whatever the fuck you all were chanting before She stops for a second. Can I roll a perception to see if I could see any sort of path or a good way towards where we might need to head?
Oh yeah, you can roll intuition. Or
Intuition.
perception. Your choice, really.
My perception's higher, 49, but still not so great.
But you not good.
Yeah, I massively
Not
failed
so-
as well. Like,
Okay.
I smile at her and go, I guess he's got a point. It's through then. And then
Yeah,
I'll start charging up a spell and following Van's wake.
All right.
Mel will keep the gun at her side and pull out the knife that Molly gave and just keep anybody from touching York at this point because she knows he probably... Well, she thinks he needs more protection. She knows something's going on with him, but...
Gotcha. There is the scene at the gates. There is the three of you sort of walk in, prepared to go through. There is, defenders on the walls firing down into the mob. Members of the mob throwing makeshift petrol bombs up at them, or just rocks and cobblestones. Some people have commandeered and are using weapons that the guard dropped and are sort of returning fire. And they are attempting right now to set the main gates on fire in order to weaken them at some degree and break them down. Back with Molly real quick. As you make your way from the Sigmarite Temple to back to the Wolf's Head, you find that the Wolf's Head has been boarded up. There's a proclamation notice sealed with the Graf's seal of Heinrich von Todbringer, and it proclaims that the Wolf's Head is to be confiscated and its owner proscribed and censured for crimes against the state and blasphemies. And as such, the Wolf's Head is now under control of the Graf himself.
I reach out with my ridiculously long fingers and I snatch down the proclamation and I crush it up real good and I throw it over my shoulder to the fires that burn as riot has been brought to the streets of Middenheim. And I look around me and I want to go to the back door and see if I can break in because I really need a drink.
Yeah.
Back door was all broken up.
Yeah, the back door is still a ruined mess. That there is a sort of another proclamation set in the nearest post that's standing upright, but there's no way to lock it or keep anyone out of the back.
Alright, I would like to, as gracefully as I can, make my way through to get a couple of bowls. And double check, no one else is in here and had the same idea.
It does not look like it, no.
Alright. With my bottles, I take a swig back in honor of the wolf's head. I look up to His Highness up above the bar. I'll be back for you, don't worry. We're busy. And she heads back out the way she came in. One bottle wedged into her belt and the other in hand. And I'm gonna go see if I can find my friends. I know they're not at the Sigmarite Temple, so I'm gonna go towards the other sounds I was hearing, because that's probably where they are.
Yeah, it's
not
entirely
one
possible.
party, it's the other party.
Right. Exactly. Go ahead and give me, this time, a D1000 roll.
Ooh.
I'm using another mutations table.
Oh god.
612.
612. Here we go. Ooh,
Fucking
nice. Looks like Molly has a potentially beneficial one, as you get massive intellect as a mutation.
All
Where is
right.
it? All right, here we go. I need you to roll me a.
She's got a massive intellect. It's hot.
Yeah. You walk through, and your brain just sort of hurts for a second, almost like drops you to your knees, as there's a splitting headache, and you can feel your skull is already kind of getting misshapen because of the horns and everything else. But you accompanying this headache is just is almost like a vision or a dream of some kind, of just things that you now know, new connections between things, new whatever. So you get plus 30 to your intelligence as Molly.
I need to start some more of that powder. Hot damn.
And that is from the Realms of Chaos, Slaves to Darkness book. So there we go. Trying some new stuff.
Oh, that's what we are
Anyway.
now, huh?
That's where we are now. Yes.
So Molly's eyes, already huge, widen as all of the answers for every test that she tried to take flood into her brain. All of the study sessions she had with Van, she remembers each turn of the page, each page number, how to create and build and how to destroy things. And with her new beautiful mind, there's this like slight buzzing of just information, and she wants to use her newfound intelligence to narrow down the best way to get to the party without getting caught up in the party.
Yeah. Go ahead and give me an intelligence roll there.
87. There's a lot of
Is it still
information right now. So hard.
Yeah.
Processing.
There's
So I'm like
You think
trying to
you-
envision this, and I just walk face first into a lamppost. Well,
all right. All right.
I carry on.
You carry on. You think you know the way now, and it just took a bit of a jarring. You come across the scene as Van and York and Mel make their way into this mob. So Molly arrives on the scene in front of the Graf's palace gates. There's a growing mob of Southies, Easties, laborers, and other sort of like people of the city that seem to have gathered in front of here, and you can hear the sounds of battle as you approach. And at the last minute, you catch a glimpse of like Mel as she slips through two knots of people. They're sort of like weaving their way through the groups that are gathered in front of here. On the walls, there's human watchmen, Skaven firing down. That's what Molly can see.
Alright. I would like to use my experiences as a hustler, and I want to hussy my way around, probably like go up to like a rooftop or the balcony or the drain pipes, and just kind of, I'd want to skirt around.
Okay.
Try and find my friends that way. I don't want to be ground level. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
Ground level's not a good place to be.
It's really not. And with your extra knuckles, find yourself pretty good at climbing. Now, for the rest, as you make your way through this mob and the enemies that are firing down at you, I just need to see if anything happens. And just real quick. Oh, that's an 80. That is a... Okay. The defenders are pouring down fire and literally throwing rocks and stones down on the mob as well. It doesn't look like there's that many of them. And the mob has sort of surged and attempted to smoke them out, attempted to scale the walls. They've made several attempts to break through that have failed, and are now have taken to just trading fire with the defenders on the walls. That is the scene that you guys, the three of you, find yourselves in as you make your way through the crowds towards the gate. So Van, you're in the lead.
So yeah, Van just, again, does not break stride. You could set your clock to his gait. And he, bullets flying, just, ricocheting at his feet, around him, people getting hit. He doesn't even blink. And he gets up to where the firing line is of the mob. And he levels his bolter, like, right at the gate. You don't have to be careful what you shoot at. Most things up there don't react too well to bullets. And he pulls the trigger and just shoots right at the gate.
Uh-huh. Go ahead and give me a roll there for Van. It's more to determine success level for damage. That you hit it. It's a big fucking gate right in front of you.
I mean, that is a success, but I don't have any success levels.
Gotcha. Okay, so...
Unless I get a bonus because it's an inanimate object.
So you would get a bonus because the weapon is accurate and it is easy to hit, giving you, plus 40 to your roll. So yes.
Or success levels.
Then you'd have that. The weapon itself kicks in your hand, and the first... are you doing a single shot or a burst?
I think this would be the moment where, like, right before he shoots, he looks and he sees a switch on the side.
Yeah.
And then he just flips that switch and just lets loose like a burst.
Okay. As you let loose a burst, you notice that you can't tell the difference between your armor and the gun. It looks as though they seemingly have fused together.
Okay.
And you shoot out a burst of bullets at the gate. That's 6 levels, success levels. And looks like you blast a small hole in it that you could force your way through, or could now be a weak point for further attempts to break through.
Well, as he sees that
in front of the gate shooting.
I was going to say, as he sees that hole open up, this is when you see Van, like, he tilts forward and begins running full speed. Just running right at that hole, pulling his axe up over his shoulder. And that's what he's... Yeah.
That's what he sees. Pretty much anyone at the scene, Molly, you're up top, but both York and Mel are close by, can see Van do this. He's fired off the shot, running towards the gate. You guys are free to do anything as you like. So far, it seems as though you've been unnoticed.
So does it look like they've noticed Van, or is he I'm guessing he's running right towards them and they're shooting down, and I'm going to use Creeping Menace. Yep, that'll be fine. That's my six success levels with my bonus. And what's going to happen, it's going to be like an honor guard for Van. All these spiders are going to pop up alongside him, but all they are is like a meat shield. So they're funneling him down forward towards this hole, but they're taking all this gunfire. They're like exploding into magical energy and guts and everything flying over him while he runs hopefully safely down towards them.
Yeah, sort of. They intercepting bullets and sort of like throwing themselves in front of rocks as Van gets to the front. Yeah. How about for Mel and Molly? Are y'all doing anything?
This door that he just blew a hole in.
It's like a big gate, right? Like there's the gate to the castle, sort of.
Would I be able to do anything to it with my bone saw that I haven't used, that I've had this entire time?
I mean, you can certainly attempt to enlarge it. Like multiple people, it seems, have noticed this hole now and are like surging forward and rushing in. So like Van's just sort of at the head of a large group of both magical spiders and members of the mob who seem to be rushing through and at this hole. So you can certainly widen it with the saw.
All right, she's just gonna yell, "Cover me!" and go in. Would this be strength, we think?
Yeah, strength.
It's not my greatest skill.
Ooh.
Oh. All
There you
right,
Oh.
36. So she is being pushed by the tinge of corruption and the chaos to get shit fucking done.
Get shit done. Yeah. Mel rushes forward, starts pulling apart the gate, widening it as more and more members of the mob now rush forward to take advantage of the hole that is being created in the wall. Molly, you can see all this. If you have some way of doing something at range, you can certainly help. But right now, you're sort of like looking
what
down
I would
on
like
the scene.
to do is I want to look for the snipers that are on the roof. I know I'm not the only one who thought to get up here, and I want to look for the enemies that are up on this roof.
There are.
So I can keep my friends covered as I see Van, or someone who looks vaguely like Van, but weirdly isn't walking like him at all, make his way towards this gate, followed by the mob, and I'll see Mel, with my great big eyes, and the familiar spiders, because I believe I've seen York do this just in the fight with Ferris. So yeah, I want to try and keep my friends covered, and I've got my shank, my original shank, and it's got the need to go between some ribs. So I want to go find the sniper on the roof.
Okay. You see a pair of them. There were two on this roof. The building that you're on right now is on fire, and you're not gonna be able to stay up here too much longer. But for now, it's tolerable. But in the smoke and the haze, you can see that there is a team of what looks to be two Skaven who have posted up on this lip of a building behind a decoration of some kind, and are taking shots down into the crowd with this enormously long gun that they've got.
So I whisper
sneak
into
up on
them.
them?
I say, "Help me fly, I know you can." And she's gonna take a running leap to get onto the other roof and hope to land as quietly as possible to get to them, to come up and to shank them in the back.
Okay. Let's see.
And if it'll help, I will snort some more warp stone as a way of summoning my flying friend.
Okay. Sure. Sure.
Sure.
Are you making excuses to take drugs?
I said, goddamn.
Jerry's not here, okay? There's a hole in our party
Right.
where the drugs should be.
Go ahead and give me another D1000 as you step off, and your friend is just there to take you and lift you through the air, and it's just
like
this
utter faith that this shit's gonna work, just like the confident stride and keep going. There's a 180. Look, tonight's been going real well for me, and I have faith in the dark powers. They've not steered me wrong so far.
They have not. This is Beweaponed Extremities, which it looks as though...
Is it wrong my mind automatically went to nipple guns for some reason?
That works for her. Let's be real. Let's be real.
So okay, how about this?
What is this, Austin Powers?
I step off onto the roof on the other side, having just walked through, and the shank that's in my hand is now grown into part of like one of my real long fingers, and I use it and I just rip open my top, and there are 2 pistols because this is a good idea, and I am so down for my boots firing. And there are 2 of them, so can I? Pew, pew.
Yes.
Thanks. That's a success.
Yes.
That is not a success.
Oh my god. All right. Extremities.
I'm so
okay.
sorry, Jim.
My body
That's
is a
all
weapon
Right.
and a wonderland.
So that's nipple guns and knife fingers. Which hand is that?
My right hand.
This is amazing,
All right.
by the way. This is
Yeah.
one of the best episodes of Warhammer I've ever played.
So, as you're borne aloft by this creature that just sort of like comes up out of nowhere and carries you over, you sort of land near where these 2 are taking pot shots. Take these 2 2 attacks right here. 36 for the first one. So, how many? What are we talking about for degrees of success here?
That is a flat success.
Okay.
Because I'm at 38, and then the other one is a degree of failure.
Okay, so the other one probably like hits the cover that they're hiding behind, but the first one definitely hits. And then let's see for damage.
Unless my
All right,
really big eyes help me aim better with my boots.
I mean, that's. I mean,
It's a fair point.
I could see that happening. Yeah, you can see it giving a boost to your ballistic skill, a 10 boost to your
Okay.
ballistic skill. Would that make it a hit? For the second one?
Unfortunately, not by 1 point.
Okay,
That's okay.
it still does it.
It's real close to his head. It like zips straight past his ear.
And the other one hits. So that was degree of success plus weapon damage. All right.
I don't want to know how I reload these, by the way, so I'm assuming they also reload. Just saying.
Yeah.
Oh, they auto
We'll have
reload
to
all
see.
that.
Yeah.
Can we say that they fire chaos bolts, just like little, I don't know, ballistic chaos, just pure chaos?
Just pure chaos. It's sort of like the warp stone in your body is formed into bullets
Yes.
that it fires. Yeah. There you go. All right.
This is not good.
This is not good. Maybe perhaps even I'm going to let the party down at the bottom make a check to see if they notice this
See if
and,
they
and
notice.
all of the mayhem that's going on.
The assassin on the roof.
Right.
Did
you guys
anyone
wanna
just
make
hear
me a
nipple
perception
guns
test?
going on?
I swear I heard a nipple gun.
Oh, I notice it.
Yeah.
It sounded like mammary guns to me.
What in the actual fuck is happening here?
I got a 3.
All right.
Wait, what are we doing again? Sorry.
Just to see if you guys notice this as all this is going on.
We noticed Molly and her tit guns.
Right.
No, I failed by 1 degree. I'm still running towards the door. I'm surrounded by
Yeah.
insects.
So putting a bit of a fast forward on this real quick. Van gets to the door. You're what, attempting to force it open with your axe?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna feel for like a button as I'm bringing the axe up. I feel a button and just instinctively push it, and probably feel the axe just kind of like, and just slam into the gate, like right at the base of the hole, just trying to just tear through it.
Yeah. Van quickly makes short work of the gate with an axe that seems to not even. It doesn't care that this is a hugely reinforced castle gate with iron-bound hardwood and the like. Your axe makes short work of it as if it were just kindling. And as Van is smashing his way through the gate.
I'm gonna need to make a roll for the wood. Hang on, because I'm deathly afraid of wood.
Oh, yes.
But luckily, because I'm a slayer, I have fearless everything.
Nice.
Oh my god, I do not give a shit about wood anymore.
Didn't even give a
Fuck wood.
Fuck that. You break through the gate. There's a surge of humanity that rushes into the ducal palace, and as you look beyond, you can see the figure, all of you now that has assisted you, fully transformed from statuesque human into this avian serpentine monstrosity, and with one of its arms points in a direction that seems to be the way that the entire mob flows around and heads towards. And as you break into the ducal palace here, there's a small honor guard on the other side that is seemingly overwhelmed by the mob that passes through. And there is a clash there as this honor guard attempts to keep things contained, but the mob sort of flows around it and past it. There is a statuesque garden which surrounds the palace itself, and it is through this garden that the mob is now careening as it makes its way towards the palace. So those of you at the front there, you can stop and fight if you like, but it looks as though most of these are humans, or you can get caught up in the surge of the mob.
Do I need to check for corruption again?
Yes, for Mel, yes, and same for Molly.
Alright, what about Molly?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Mel's starting to fall apart.
Actually, never mind for Molly. This is for Mel. It's the effects of the last few days, where
Finally starting to affect her.
so yeah, that's another corruption point for Mel.
Join me, Mel. We can be Melly Molly.
What is your combined toughness bonus plus your willpower bonus?
Toughness is 40, willpower is also 40.
Okay, so you can have 8 corruption before we got to start rolling for bad things.
I don't know if I want gun boobs.
Rolling for good things.
Yeah. So are you? Those of you in the crowds, what do you do? And Molly, how long do you stay and fight these snipers?
Up on that rooftop, I just want to run at full speed and just slash this guy's throat with my new finger knives. The one that's still standing. And my goal is to take a running leap off this roof and drop down towards the gate. Molly is now fearless. There is no death here. There is only revolution and change.
Nice. All right. Go ahead and make me a weapon skill roll for that Skaven as you seem to be.
That is shit.
Through.
That would be a failure.
Oof.
I think. Hang on, let me double check. I did up my skill. Yes, that is a failure by 3 degrees exactly.
Yeah, so it sort of sees you coming at the last minute, or it was prepared somewhat, and you have it on the defensive. And if you want to press your advantage, you can. But its friend has sort of been shot, and it seems to be writhing in pain, and it is not. It seems to be afraid.
Can I use a fortune point to re-roll that?
Sure can.
Oh, and I would be on plus 20, right? Because I charged.
Correct.
Okay. Fortune point. Go. 52. Oh, it missed. All right, hang on. Again. Rolled too vigorously.
No.
79. That's worse.
Oh man. All right. So you've pressed your advantage. You're sort of right there on it, but not quite taking it out. Are you going to stay and keep attacking, or just move on?
No, she's going to just turn and make her running leap down to a balcony or something to start going downwards towards the gate.
downwards towards the gate. And those of you in the mob are surging past, not staying to fight the human guards that are there just past the gate.
No.
Yeah. Mel's just gonna have her saw in one hand and her knife in the other, and like as things are starting to sink in, she's just gonna look at York for what to do because she's breaking a little bit.
York is like really pleased with, like, he feels like the puppet master now, and he's kind of thinking that maybe this is a test and these are his minions and he needs to steer them in the right direction. So he's quietly going along with this crowd, smiling to himself. Is this figure still with me? Have I seen him acknowledge or interact with any of the other people while he's been here?
Only when you've asked him about it. You maybe saw him pick up Molly, but it wasn't your guy. It was a different guy, right? Like it's difficult to tell when you see him with other people.
I'll speak to him again. The change starts here. We kill everyone in charge, and that's change, right? And then we go down and wipe out the rats.
Yes, York. There is my prize is beneath here. It was denied to me, but I sense its closeness. Stay here and kill these nobles if you wish. Or follow me and see true power.
Okay. Should we put someone in charge? They're gonna want a leader.
There's no need for that, York. A leader will emerge.
I smile and no doubt. Okay. I'll try and steer this mob downstairs. They're gonna be waiting though. It's gonna get messy. A lot of people are gonna die.
Perhaps. But even blood has its uses.
I'll whisper to Mel, we need to get Van downstairs. I need you to do me a favor. I need you to tell him that you saw that rat sorcerer running down, looking like he was trying to flee downstairs.
Mel ponders it for half a second and then just runs over to Van. We need to get downstairs. I think I saw the important
Where
one
do you
headed
think
that
I'm
way.
heading?
Fair fucking enough. I'm just here to deliver the message, my dear.
And he just kind of, as he's walking, because now that he broke through the gate, he's back to just walking, and he just points kind of at a 45-degree angle, like into the ground. He's like, he's there. And just continues on towards the castle itself.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has any booze anymore, do we? Fuck. She just steps back behind Van and lets him do his thing.
Yeah, I mean, Molly has probably joined you all by this point, you know.
I think as Mel's looking around for booze, Molly, with her semi-normal hand, pulls that one from her belt and just holds it out.
Mel doesn't hesitate and throws back all of it. Let's see if that fucks me up at all.
Nah, don't worry. That's normal. That's a light one, Mel. You're fine.
Still good at consuming alcohol. Still very, very good. Okay.
Don't worry, Mel. That's something you never forget. You never forget how to take a drink.
Might I have a taste?
She tosses the last bit to Van.
I gave you a full wine bottle and you're down to the last bit.
Oh, yeah. At this point.
So can Van let go of his pistol?
No, you can't.
Can he let go of his axe?
No.
Okay.
She can feed it to him. If she sees him do one of these, she'll
You're like
reach up.
last year when Carnival came in town, we'll do body shots, it'll be fine.
Hey, there's
Ow,
no
body
time for
shots.
fucking body shots here, and she just tosses it down his throat.
And he drinks deeply, much like he has been of this vengeance thus far this day.
Yeah. It's there it is. It's it tastes like wine from the wolf's head.
It's sweet.
It goes straight.
Oh.
It goes straight
Sweet.
to his head.
Yeah. All right. As you rush through the ducal palace, the mob rather has gone in just ahead of you. You can hear the sounds of crashing and fighting, of doors being splintered and furniture being overthrown. There's gunshots and the clatter of armored footsteps as they rush through the marbled halls of the palace. Using your sort of awareness and sense of where to go, you're able to navigate through first the cellars and basement, and then sort of under storage, and then into the under palace proper, which does connect with the undercity of Middenheim. At every turn or point of confusion, your avian friend is there to point the way towards where to go, always seemingly one step ahead of you, opening doors at an intersection, pointing and leading you further and further down through abandoned vaults, old sewer lines, half-converted caverns, until eventually, as you've made your way through the Underpalace and accompanying Undercity, having long ago shed any of the mob that was with you in the Ducal Palace, you can hear the sounds of shouting coming from chambers up ahead. You're in an old, actually is an old dwarven tunnel that has seen a lot of use recently. The dust and sort of cobwebs, which you might expect to find here, have all been cleared away. There's no debris that litters the floor, and in fact, a very even and level floor has been installed here over the original dwarven tunnel, it seems. And you can hear shouting and the like coming from up ahead. Not human. Definitely more like a shouting chatter or something.
Is it through a door, or is it down a corridor?
There's more like the corridor takes a bend, and then you see sort of light coming from it. The light seems pale and artificial. It's steady, but there's no door or anything that you can see.
They all have to die. Not going to be an easy fight.
We must kill them all. We must kill them all. We must kill them all. This band's just walking towards the door. He's
Hey,
about to
you
raise
remember
his
that
axe to cut it open.
They needed a piper to stop him last time, and this time we got a slayer.
Let's stay behind him. Make sure you focus your fire in the right place. And I'll have you got any hair on top of your head still, Van?
I mean, he has like a black leather skull cap, like a leather, cap on, so you're not really
Again.
sure.
So I'll pluck another one of these feathers and tuck it into your hat. You know what you've got to do. I heard your
Just kill
father's
them all.
screams. Let them know how he felt. And I literally slap the back of your head to kind of fire you up as I send you off.
Mm-hmm. And once again, with that tap, he kind of starts picking up speed, but rhythmically. It's like an even ramp up. And by the time he gets to the door, he's running full speed, leaning in with the swing of an axe.
Okay. So you're rounding this. You're running around. And you're running towards this corner. You can see the light beyond it. You're about to round it. Anybody else following behind?
I think Mel's gonna take this time to put away the knife Molly gave her and pull out the gun. But keep the saw out because she feels like she's had better luck with the saw than the knife.
All right. How about Molly then?
Molly is fired up on Warpstone, Blood, and Revolution, and she is just following, like, with the power stride of Kate Beckinsale, just destroying vampires and things left, right, and center. Only it's rat people.
Nice. All right, and then for York.
So I'll tuck a feather into Molly's beret as well, just showing that they're all kind of working for a common goal. Molly, there's going to be something down here, something we need to get. I'll be honest, I'm not really sure what it is, but I get the feeling you'll know when you see it.
I turn my head and these great big warped horns in there and these giant eyes. Look at... Don't worry, York. Calm you go. Something you need, I'll get it for you.
And then again, like a flare of jealousy will pick up in York's eyes as he looks at his just simple plume of feathers. And that's his gift compared to all these wonderful, like, I'm guessing like a distended skull where this brain's massively grown and everything like that.
My head's still pretty.
Yeah.
Sure it is, darling. Sure it is.
Look,
All right.
I got beauty and brains now. And boob guns.
The
Beauty, brains, and boob guns.
And I'm going to kind of follow behind like a shepherd with his fucked up flock in front of him.
All right. You, Van turns the corner and you can see a small, what looks to be some sort of piece of machinery of some kind. There's a large maybe boiler or something. There's gauges and valves on it, and it's got these sort of pipes that run along the ceiling throughout the other exits out of this room. And it looks as though there was a door here, but it's been left open. And you're walking on this sort of metal grating that has now been, it covered all of the tunnels, and out of the two exits that are in this room, from both of them you can hear the sounds of shattering or sort of chattering and chittering, like rodents shrieking and screaming is what you hear. There's some sort of steady light that's coming from off of one of the pipes here that's just got this dull, yellow, pale, sort of sickly light that's coming from it. So where does Van head? There's a left exit or a right exit. Out of the left exit, there is also seemingly a flickering light that seems to dance off the walls.
Which direction sounds like it's closer to Skaven? Or is it straight down?
It looks as though, like, the two... Looking at it, it looks as though the two entrances lead to the same place. It's just what level you would want to be. Looks like maybe the right path goes down and then takes a curve. Maybe takes a bit longer to get to the room that's beyond, whereas the left path is more direct. It would be up above.
He goes left.
Goes left.
Yes.
Everybody else sees Van go left out of this small room here. Where do you follow him, or do you go down the right passage?
Unless is there anything remarkable that we're hearing from this that's different?
How do you mean different? Yes.
Like, is there any? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to let Jim know that we are at a viewer decision for when he's ready.
Oh, great. So, what I would like to know is who else has escaped Skaven prison that the party might encounter down here. That's viewer decision. And what York? What were you saying there?
Yes. So this other passageway, there's nothing particularly remarkable about it, or
it looks like they both lead to the same place, but that the right passage leads downward and maybe takes a bit longer to get to where it's at, and whereas the left is the closest one.
I'll follow left for now, but I'll be listening out just because I don't want anyone to double back down and catch us from behind.
Okay, all right. And then for Molly and Mel?
I was gonna look towards York, but decide to follow in.
Molly also follows Van.
All right. So
I mean,
okay,
Van's
so
been her good friend for a long time, and York's a new guy. You gotta
That's
follow
very
the
true.
guy you know.
very true, very true. And so, but that means everybody's going down the left passage then, if I understand y'all correctly. Yeah. All right. This passage is short, perhaps only 20 feet or so. Pipes running along the top of the wall carry unknown contents outward from unknown machinery. And as you get closer to the terminus of this tunnel, you can see figures, sort of running in front of it. They seem to be Skaven, perhaps workers or laborers or something. They don't appear to be armed or have weapons. They look like they've got tools and work gear on and the like. Van, as you stalk towards the edge of this, you can tell that the room beyond is quite large, and you can start to see the bulky shapes of strange machinery that you're not quite clear exactly what it does, but it bears remarkable resemblance to some of the more experimental designs that you've seen coming out of places like Nuln and Talia, except instead of diagrams on paper, these are great big belching oily machines. You're about to reach the edge of the tunnel. Do you stride into the room, or do you hang out at the entrance?
So these machines that I can see in here, can I make it like a trade engineering roll
Sure.
to see, because even though he's focused on vengeance, he still can't shake that drive. It's quite obvious to him now. Yeah. So that's a 1 degree of success.
Yeah, you recognize them. They're various machines, pressure, designed to create intense amount of pressure and as a way of generating power and the like. Steam is what those in Nuln would refer to it as, although the smell in the air makes it think they're not using coal as the source of power to get the engines running.
Okay. So would that be enough of a success to know exactly which one of these machines to shoot?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So as he's striding into the room, he points his bolter at the the secondary bypass valve or whatever that allows it to not overload, and he
all right,
just something to dump a bunch of steam on these workers that are about to start running, so he can get to the real shit.
Right.
He still wants to kill them, though.
You're right. This boiler sort of explodes in a shower of green mist and some sort of dark liquid that sprays everything around it, begins corroding the non-metallic substances that are nearby and washing over several of the laborer rats who scream and hiss, their fur smoldering and their flesh warping as it hits them. Do you step out into the room now, or you're still sort of like standing there at the entrance of the tunnel?
Is there a clear path through away from where the machine is dumping shit?
Yeah, so it looks as though
he goes in.
You're entering in onto a walkway that runs around the upper portion of this rather large room. You can see staircases leading down further, as well as many other exits on both this side of the room and the opposite one.
Gotcha.
This room at some point was a natural cavern that had been expanded, you can tell. Right now it is full of machinery of all sorts, several of which, apart from the one that you've just shot, have broken down and are in the process of reaching sort of like a critical overload. And you can tell at the far end of this room, something strange has occurred. The cavern has dissolved away into nothingness, seemingly giving way to the void between stars. You can see this sort of Kirby-esque starscape that the cavern dissolves into, and at the far distance of it, like tremendously, the tremendous distance from you, there is like a black hole with a corona of polychromatic aura that surrounds it, and it gives off these sort of bubbles of reality that sort of float around and mix in with the dissolved cave system that you're looking at. And so this process begins about halfway across the room. There are boilers and machinery that are in the process of being dissolved and disintegrated as they get sucked into this reality hole. And Skaven are flying through the air towards it, seemingly being propelled and devoured by this thing that's at the end. Van sees all of this laid out in front of him as he shoots the boiler and steps into the next room.
Okay. Do I still feel that pull to like go that way?
Oh yeah, you feel the pull to enter into the room and to be in the presence of whatever's at the far end there. Definitely.
Okay.
Right now it's not a problem, but it might be.
Right. I'm sorry, the backstage chat is amazing.
The backstage is always trip you up, yep. All right.
So he's going to, yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing, is like, he's going to, he's got to find the sorcerer. He's got to find these people that did this to him and his father, and he'll be damned if he's going to let something as simple as a chromatic black hole stop him.
Right. So in that case, I need a perception test, as you want to see the half of the workshop that is still in this reality is filled with sort of Skaven and the like.
That's a fail.
You catch a glimpse of what you think might be one of the sorcerers or something like that in the throngs of Skaven rushing about to avoid being devoured or blown up by exploding warpstone boilers.
He points his axe right at that Skaven and just screams, "You!" Like, nice. Just drowning out all the skittering and screaming.
Nice. How about the rest of you then? Van, you've seen him rush up. He's shot this thing, seemed to be transfixed by something for a moment, and then let out this cry. I think maybe Mel was next behind Van. You're still in the tunnel.
Do I need to check for my corruption again, or?
Not quite.
Okay.
Not quite. Yeah.
Mel wants to look and see if she sees anything of more importance rather than who Van's going after. If there's somebody more important around.
Yeah.
She's a little too caught up in things. She doesn't see anything.
I mean,
So
from your
she just-
vantage point, what's that?
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, from your vantage point, you almost see too much. Like, there's just a throng of Skaven beneath you on the work floor, and some of them running up through the intermediary walk levels, trying to fix machines, trying to avoid being blown up or dissolved or made unreal. And so it's more just like the calamity of it makes it difficult to discern what's going on.
Okay. Mel's gonna start hacking away with her saw at anything that gets close.
Apparently no one on the uppermost walkway with you, although they do have Van's attention and might be coming up soon. And then so you sort of like prepare yourself for battle. How about for Molly?
I want to look around this room and use my newfound mental acuity to figure out where something would be hiding that I want. I've got what York said to me, like in the back of my brain, and that part of me that likes to get things for people. That's working, and I'm using my newfound intelligence to figure out what this room is about, whether it's going to be here or whether it's going to be near here. That sort of deduction.
Gotcha. Go ahead and make me that intellect roll, intelligence roll.
No.
Oof. You know that all this is. Van's explained a lot of this before to you. You recognize some of these things as things that Van have seen, and you know that the machinery in here has some sort of significance with Warpstone, but its purpose and what they were doing here is still escapes Molly. So right now, it seems as though, York, you were taking up the rear, kind of making sure nobody snuck up on you, and you sort of see how see your friends kind of paused on this upper walkway. Your companion, as you're walking down this tunnel, reappears next to you. The creatures beyond far advanced in science and engineering than even the dwarves, but they thought that they could master Warpstone. They thought that they could control it, turn it into a weapon. And their plans have been unmade. And as he sort of steps out of the tunnel, behold, York, my prize. And you can all now see as it begins to float through the air, through the cavern, towards the end of this hallway, towards the polychromatic black hole. York, what do you do during all this?
And I'm rewarded for getting it for you.
Enjoy your reward, York. Live. Take what you want from this world.
Let me make this clear. I've been taking most things from this world anyway. You promised me power. You promised me everything that I've ever wanted.
I promised that I would place it within your grasp. I will give nothing to you, York. Only facilitate that which you will take for yourself. It was always that way, York. I've always been here with you.
You helped me with my family. I think I remember you. Can you show me them?
I can. And in that void, that sort of the gulf between the black hole and where the cave begins to dissolve, York sees an image of his family.
Are they alive, or do I see them as they were, like, murdered and brutally chopped up? And
I mean, you see them as idealized versions of how you would see them. Yeah.
York kind of smiles at that. It's something he's longed for quite a while. Okay. And what are you going to do with this thing? Pointing to the thing floating towards the black hole.
This is where I belong, York. And when you are ready, you will make your way here too. This is our master's home.
Can I see him?
Is that truly what you wish, York?
If he's chosen me, then am I not owed that much? Am I... My friends, are they not owed that much? We've accepted you, and we should see who we've been helping all this time.
I owe no one anything, York. But I will grant you this boon, nonetheless, because your understanding in this, you will need it. And he seemingly was far across the room, reappears next to where York is, and bids you to take his hand and float through the air towards the Chaos Gate with him.
I kind of look towards where my friends went. Can they see me at this point, or are we out of sight of them?
They're sort of in front of you. I don't know if anyone would turn around to see.
I'm gonna try, like, out the corner of my huge eyes.
Yeah.
It's just taking it all in.
I will take his hand, though.
Okay. No, see it. All right. Take his hand, and York and the creature begin to float across the room quite quickly, as if falling almost towards the Chaos Gate. And as it looms large in your vision, York, it changes from this sort of void in reality to almost like a fish-eyed peephole sort of thing. You can see something beyond. A creature of massive bulk is brooding in a room beyond, and you can see something off of it writhe and lash as if it were tendrils or tentacles of some kind, and shift as you approach. The rest of you see that York has taken this thing's hand and is falling. Here, before we have to wrap up, let's set ourselves up for next week. Tell me what you guys are doing in the last moments there. No one has come up yet to stop you. Yeah. What are y'all's last actions there?
Van's last action would be, like, how far is it down to the floor?
It's maybe like 15 feet down to the floor. There's like a walkway level between you and the floor, and then there's the floor. The levels here seem to be a little short. Actually, quite handy for a dwarf.
Exactly. So he is basically just tracking that sorcerer that he thinks he sees, the white fur or whatever, and he's just like, again, for like the third time, he picks up speed and starts running. And I guess as we cut, he runs and jumps off the edge there, and he's got his gun pointed down, axe above his head, and he's shooting a bolter burst as he's flying towards the sorcerer, and he's going to cut that fucker into atoms. He's not going to stop until it just does not exist anymore.
All right. So we'll leave Van leaping off, shooting and making his attack. Both Molly and Mel see this as, and so how do y'all react then?
I think Molly is going to pull out the hip flask, take a swig, give the hip flask to Mel, and follow Van.
Okay.
Yeah, Mel's gonna down it, look for York, not necessarily see him. So she's gonna follow Molly now that Molly
right.
doesn't need protection.
Nice. I need a cool test from Mel. This is going to be difficult, so it's at -10. And then Molly, I need another D1000.
Cool test from me.
Yeah, cool test for Mel at -10.
52 for Molly.
Mm-hmm.
It was a D1000, right?
Yeah.
I barely succeed, but yes.
Okay.
43
so
out of 45.
You've kept your nerve to not gain another mental corruption, but Molly over here, 52. Let's
I rolled
see.
low.
There we go. All right. I need a D20 as Molly's face begins to take on a bestial aspect.
5.
Ooh, all right.
Please be a wolf. Please be a wolf. Please be a wolf.
Yeah.
JJ, what am I doing here?
Molly's face has taken on a distinctly lupine and wolf-like demeanor as you've grown a muzzle and fangs, and your facial features begin to elongate and engulfen here at the end as you follow Van towards the floor at Skaven. Mel keeps her cool together. York experiences his first vision of the realms of chaos, which are beyond the veil of reality that he is attempting to pierce. And I think we're going to have to figure out how the rest of this... I don't think next week is the end. I think next week's the penultimate episode, but I don't know, maybe someone else has a better idea. Who knows? It may be the finale. It may be the second to the finale. Who knows? But you should show up next week to figure out what's going to happen.
Just be here next week, basically. That's the easy way to
Because everything
Or we'll
is going
cut
to
you, or
explode.
shoot you with our nipple guns.
or some,
Pour the nipple gunch.
No, that's
You
all.
get
That's
You
all
get a
Molly.
PAX one time and you come back with nipple guns.
It happens.
Fire the artillery. That didn't
Oh, God.
Waiting for that one.
So,
right.
After you, Monsieur.
I know I was going to do what you were going to do, but you're going to do it so much
Why
better
don't
than
we
me.
go around, say what you enjoyed, who you are, where we can find you the rest of the time when you're not here on Warhammer Wednesdays. And why don't we start with one of the best humans amongst us, Panda.
No.
Wait, holy shit, you genuinely threw me out because I'm never ever fucking getting to go first. Christ almighty, I'm not sure. Will's going to fire you so hard for letting me go first. Amazing as well. Like, this took a fucking amazing sidestep and we're doing fucking crazy things. Jim can fucking pull things out of the bag and surprise you. We've still got Rat coming to fucking end things, which is amazing. And
Yes.
like, yeah, I love the fact that now York has always been a bit jealous and a bit like wanting everything, and this is coming out even more as everyone else is getting these fucking amazing boons of Zeech, which I'm assuming is Zeech, and he's just there with a fucking feathery mohawk. So it's so fucking good. That's I'm going for it 100%, and it's so much fucking fun. I'm
like
going
this.
down like the Zeechian rabbit hole, and we'll see where I fucking end up. Also, Will, you missed out on nipple guns. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What we've done.
I can't wait to see Jerry's face when he finds out about that.
And why don't we come over to you, Mel, and you tell us about your favorite part and where we can find you and so forth.
You know, I think it's given Mel something interesting because she was always about pleasing the the uppers and the people of the church to try and get where she wants. And now, Jerry's offered her, if he's in power, she gets everything she wants. So now she's truly 100% behind her friends. So it's definitely given her something different from what we've seen. I'll be playing some GTA later tonight and tomorrow over at Cherry Bomb on Twitch, and you can see when and what I'm up to on Cherry Bomb 7 on Twitter.
Okay, and Prit, same questions for you, sir.
Oh my god. Let me tell you something. If there's anybody that knows how to offer the players exactly what they want for the largest price imaginable, it is Jim Davis. I have known him for years, and he knows that I will take that. So when an array of weapons shows up before me and the description that he gives, I'm like, these are fucking 40K weapons. I know they are. I know in my heart that they are. And I was not disappointed. So, oh, God. From then on, it was just like, oh, yeah, we're going to have a slow stalk towards vengeance. So I'm Pruitt. I'm one half of Web DM. Just had a great weekend at PAX. Got to hang out with this lady right here. Little frost and fire over here. By the way, happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
And so, yeah, can't wait to see how Van In lands next week. Whether it will be on his feet like a fucking superhero boss that he is, or if he busts his ass, we'll see. But it'll be entertaining regardless.
And that brings us around to our wonderful Dungeon Master, Jim Davis.
Hey, yeah, we got that wild magic surge last week and figured let's just lean into it hard and see what happens. Tzeentch is, of course, the unraveler of conspiracies and the confounder of inquisitions, and was always at work behind the scenes, always at play. So good to bring him out again and give this bad boy for a spin. So, yeah, like I said, we're have a great time on the stream playing, and I'm glad to give you all the opportunity to do some just, I don't know, crazy shit. I am one half of WebDM. We have a YouTube Dungeons & Dragons RPG advice and inspiration channel. Come check us out on Wednesdays, normally Mondays, but we will have a special video this Friday for you guys. We also have a Twitch channel where we're sort of taking the week off this week. No Starward Bound, no Unearthly Twilights tonight, but we are playing Land Between Two Rivers tomorrow because we just can't get enough gaming. And yeah, so fun times. Happy birthday, Charlie. And can't wait to play again next week.
And same goes for me. Prit and I are also back on Friday with Roll Up, where we take a look at the Dark Matter expansion for 5e from Mage Hand Press. I'm very excited to do that. We played an amazing two-shot a few months ago. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back to the space chaos. I am at Frost from Fire on the Twitters, and I play all sorts of games all over the place, and I have a pinned tweet. There is no Deep Space Spine tonight, but it is back next week. So your dose of sci-fi will be made up for on Roll-Up at 5 p.m. EST on Friday. And if not, pop back here on Wednesday when you get the triple threat of Call of Cthulhu, followed by Warhammer, followed by Deep Space Spine. It is the place to be on a Wednesday. We missed you very much, Will. Please come back with Jerry, the Brick, and Ellen next week. And in the meantime, don't roll too many nat ones, because we want to be there laughing when you do. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much for being here.
Night.